Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and as always, or most always anyway, very excited here. And today is a special day. This is going to function as the launch event for our We Own New York Cooperative. And real quick, on the screen here is our Google Docs. But before we do that, I'm going to hop in and let Tyler do a real quick intro. And then if you could round robin, and I'll bring it back and do a real quick intro for myself, and then we'll hop into the agenda. So over to you, Tyler.
Sure. So my name's Tyler Yonker. I am one of the co-founders of Retoken DAO, the real estate DAO, which spun into pToken assets and the 3Win ecosystem, which we've been really excited to build. Have been building a cooperative and tokenized projects for the last 4 years. Super excited to be opening up new opportunities in real estate and investment clubs and tokenized energy infrastructure. Background 20 years in institutional fundraising, and pretty excited to open up the new end of the capital stack. So over to you, Roman.
Hi, everyone. My name is Roman DiDomizio. I'm currently working with WEOWN as a AI systems engineer intern. I recently graduated from University of Colorado Boulder with a degree in computer science, and I'm now pursuing my master's degree in artificial intelligence.
Great, thanks, Roman. And Lotus, are you able to introduce yourself?
It's kind of noisy where I'm at, but hey guys, I'm Lotus. I'm a Web3 builder, blockchain agnostic, and into AI at the moment, trying to learn as much as I can to be a consultant in that field. Anyway, looking forward for cooperative setups. Starting out in New York is a good thing. Waiting for it to kind of be used in any other states as we grow. So I'm just here to learn and see what I could use as a tool in things that I'm doing. So thank you. And I've been building with the Young's team since, I'm not sure, 2021, I think. Is that right? But anyway.
It is indeed. Time flies when you're having fun, huh, Lotus?
So looking forward to what we can do with this project. Thank you.
All righty. Well, and I'm going to keep my intro short. I absolutely love building in public, and this is a format that we have been refining for a while. And I'm sure that this is only the first of many, many conversations. So scrolling down, this is a templated agenda that we have continued to refine here for our ecosystem. We own XYZ, and our ecosystem tagline has evolved to real estate and cooperative ownership for everyone. And we're building an inclusive community by invitation only. And there's a lot to unpack within that. Not going to do that right now. And love 3Win social ecosystem. And for those that aren't familiar, 3Win is win-win-win, triple bottom line, people, planet, and prosperity. And if you're not familiar with the triple bottom line, I'd highly encourage you to read the original paper on that goes all the way back to 1994, which is a underlying catalyst for the people, planet, prosperity. Prior to and I'm not going to unpack that anymore. We'll be creating some more content on that here in our ecosystem. But one of the things that we will talk about every chance that get, and this is one of the reasons that it's in our agenda, templated agenda, is our FELG culture. And I love our FELG culture: fun, earning, learning, and giving. And that's something, again, talk about every opportunity that we can. So let's check off these first two items. We completed our intros here. So let's talk about, why does We Own New York Cooperative need to exist? So this is quite simple. Most people have familiarity with a state chapter's sort of business model. And one of the things that we're going to add to that is local investment clubs. So this is our primary mechanism. And let's actually, real quick, I'm going to go to WEOWN.capital. And I don't know how much that I've updated this with some of the stuff around the state chapters. We will know momentarily here. So WeOwn.capital redirects to our Notion page. And we've got 6 pillars that we're building with to solve the longstanding problem that real estate has around the lack of liquidity. I will go on the record, off the record, time and time again, that I believe that one of the biggest opportunities for the foreseeable future is the tokenization of real estate. It's literally 2/3 of the global wealth is currently represented via real estate, and most of that doesn't have any liquidity. So representing the ownership of real estate in a digital manner, and we're huge fans of fractionalized ownership of real estate, and pToken assets is going to be one of the primary ways that we do that. And you can see here, I've prioritized that the state chapters and local investment clubs is the second most important pillar within our ecosystem. So let's see how much that I've got in here for states. So formed, I'm actually going to move New York up here because we will be forming, one of the things that I will have as an action item today is to form the legal entity for We Own New York Cooperative. Talk about that. So I'm going to be bumping up New York here to number 2 in this list. So I'm not going to go through all of the things on We Own Capital. That's something that you can unpack on your own accord if you want. And let me actually add that to the list here. And I'm gonna put a link in here to the subtab. I'm a huge subtab junkie within Google Docs. Anybody that's been on any of our conversations will know that. It's just a better way to organize threaded conversations. Because again, here's one conversation today on September 13th around the launch event. And this will, like I said, be the first in more conversations. So let me throw this in here real quick. And if anybody is watching the live stream, feel free to chime in. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that, but link to Google Docs subtab for today's. And I'm going to continue to put it out to the universe. If somebody would love to help elevate our live stream, would love to have a OBS live stream facilitator. But anyway, that's another conversation. I've talked about that quite a bit in the past. So anyway, there's the link to Google Docs subtab for today's conversation. All right, so, and I'm going to put here, explore WeOwn.capital for understanding our 6 pillars, financial pillars. These are financial pillars. And put a link here to that. And one of the other things that we've had a lot of conversations around, and this is something that has been an ongoing evolution, is iLocal, FYI. I'm a huge fan, have been studying movement marketing for quite a while. We're really looking to create a movement around hyper-local, tokenized cooperative ownership. And iLocal, we've had a lot of conversations. I'm not going to unpack all of the conversations that we've had. There's a link to the Google Docs. If you go to iLocal.fyi, it actually forwards here to a link tree that also has the Google Docs on here. And if you want to grab a slice of time on my calendar, there's a link that you can grab that as well. So anyway, getting back to the agenda. So one of the questions that came up is, Why is New York a top 4 state in the We Own ecosystem go-to-market strategy? So one of the things that we had an immense amount of conversations around in our ecosystem in 2024, and this isn't a new thing. We've had conversations around bringing community ownership to clean energy for years. I mean, that's one of the things that's been a longstanding ethos. I'm not going to unpack all of that right now. It would probably be fun, and this might even be something that we delegate as a mini project to our forthcoming digital marketing intern, is to kind of package some of the historical conversations that we've had, series of conversations, into a more consumable manner, just to kind of tell a story of our evolution here within the We Own ecosystem. So let's actually real quick talk about a one pager that we created last fall. This was done around September. Let me actually just look at the version history real quick. See version history. So on September 24th, exported this version as a PDF for HeroX submission. So about 1 year ago, we did a submission for HeroX for on-chain energy network. And you can see here, this is a visual that we included: community solar installed capacity. New York has the, well, Florida actually has slightly higher, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe Florida has more days of sun than New York. But the reason that these 4 states are on our go-to-market strategy as the top 4 is quite simply, these 4 states have the most favorable community solar regulations that will allow us to become a next generation energy company in the form of a virtual power plant. And this is one of the things you think about us leaning into AI and the opportunity for us to own a data center and then own the energy. The biggest challenge that a lot of big tech providers have as far as wanting to build out these massive centralized data centers is getting the energy capacity at a fair cost. And different energy costs different things in different states, but either way, New York, let's be honest, I mean, there's more people in New York than some countries have. So New York City is unquestionably one of the top global cities as far as from a not going to unpack all of that. We all know New York is magical in its own ways. And I have personal interest also in New York. My daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter, we're going to be flying out to central New York, upstate New York, here, and literally be in New York, central New York, in two weeks from now. So this is something that may even throw up some flyers at some of the universities to grab some time, but that's something that we will take a look at. So does that answer the question as far as why is New York a top 4 state? Does anybody else have any questions, thoughts on that? I don't see anybody raising hand or opening the mic. So one of the things that's worth mentioning is in our on-chain cooperative model, and let me actually just go here to pToken ID. pToken, already talked a little bit about pToken assets. pToken ID is an identifier, a method that we use for so here's one that created for We Own Colorado. And so let me actually go here. So here is the legal entity that we created on August 1st for We Own Colorado. And one of the reasons, I don't know what it costs to form a legal entity in the state of New York. You don't have to have an entity formed within the state that it'll primarily conduct business in. Not going to unpack, but I am almost 99.9% certain that forming a legal entity in the state of Colorado will be far less expensive than forming a legal entity in the state of New York. Another reason that we're forming the entity as an on-chain cooperative in the state of Colorado is that Ethereum Denver um, has some precedence with using Colorado. So ETH Denver is a big event coming up here. And ETH Denver is owned by an on-chain cooperative, SporkDAO. And this is something that I'm a OG member of SporkDAO. And SporkDAO is organized as a limited cooperative association operating as a public benefit corporation. I don't think SporkDAO ever went through the process of becoming a B Corp. We will likely do that for whether we do that for each on-chain cooperative or not. We'll have to unpack. We will absolutely be doing that for my IRA fund, which is the on-chain cooperative that we're going to be focusing most of our resources on here in 2025 as far as from onboarding people into our ecosystem. One of the things that I will do before we have our next conversation around We Own New York Cooperative is I'll actually do a comparison as far as the cost of forming a legal entity in New York versus in Colorado. Another reason too, and I'm going to actually talk about this, Uniform Law Commission. Um, there's only a handful of states that actually have a limited cooperative association. And I'm gonna actually, this is something that I bookmarked. So here is a publication around the Colorado Uniform Limited Cooperative Association Act. Let me put a link in here so that people that want to learn a little bit more about that. But the big problem that limited cooperative associations solved, and one of the reasons that I'm also very excited about New York actually has more housing cooperatives than any other state. One of the things that I believe happened is that with the dominant rise of American capitalism here, largely since World War II, the last four generations, just was such a more efficient capital model than cooperatives. So one of the problems that limited cooperative associations have solved is that it allows external investors. You don't have to be a cooperative member to invest in a limited cooperative association. So here is the Colorado Limited Cooperative Association Act. And let me actually do a search here for the Uniform Law Commission. And I'll add this as another reference point in the Google Docs. So the uniform, let's see, uniformlaws.org. I think that this is it. Here's their X. Their search engine optimization could probably use so let's look up the Limited Cooperative Association here on their website. So, Limited Cooperative Association Act. This one looks like it's got the most details. Let's see if this is the correct page. So, looking here, Limited Cooperative Association Act. Let's look at the summary tab, or maybe enactment history. So, looking here, New York is not on the list. So these are the only states that have a limited cooperative. So this is a short list of the states that we can actually form. So we can't even form a limited cooperative association in the state of New York. So even though I'm talking about doing a comparative analysis, it's not even the same comparison because we actually cannot form a limited cooperative association in the state of New York. So that's another reason why that we're forming the legal entity in Colorado. And quite simply, like we're working to get some great processes, simplified processes that will make it easier to form a tokenized on-chain cooperative. All right. Well, that's all the agenda that I had here. I would love to hear from if there's any other questions that we should answer before we bring today's launch event for We Own New York Cooperative to a close.
Exciting stuff.
I don't see anybody else opening a mic. I'm absolutely very excited about this. And as I mentioned, it's a high degree of probability for our 6 states that we have shortlisted, increasing it now from a top 4 to a top 6. And that's not going to unpack why that we're adding Nevada and Tennessee to the list, but that'll be another conversation for another day. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share here. Launch event, as I mentioned, absolutely planning to create a We Own New York account on Zora. Those of you that are on the live stream today will get a airdrop from the piece of content that I'm going to upload here for our launch event, because that's one of the things that we're doing is some fun experimentation around using Zora, a social media platform that has some very compelling tokenomic flywheels around the creation of content. So stopping the share. Anybody want to give us some final closing thoughts before we bring the live stream, this conversation to a close here today? All right. Well, here's some hand claps for me as far as some flying emojis. Look, I'm gonna do some rocket launches because we're launching. This is our launch event. I see celebration. I'll amplify the little celebration from I Am Lotus. Let's see what else we have here. Here's some hearts. Here's some balloons. All right. Have a fun and safe weekend, everybody. Until next time.